Hey guys, welcome back again and welcome to day 11 of iPhone Google Pixel Fold. Today I'm going to talk more about some of my additional thoughts on this phone. I still don't think it is worth it for the $1,800 price tag due to the fact that half the apps don't really work. There's weird optimization issues all around. I think if this phone was $1,600, I still wouldn't even recommend it. $1,400, maybe $1,200, almost a yes. And I think the sweet spot eventually I want to get to is the $1,000 mark. I know these days you can potentially get that price if you lock into a 2-year commitment or something like that. So but before you do that, I would go into the store and try to get your hands on one of these and actually hold it, play around with it, and feel out the weight and just make sure it is something that you're willing to commit to for the next 2 years. Because I would argue that the majority of the time you use this phone, you're probably going to use it close, probably at least 50% of the time, if not more. And having the phone closed is actually really heavy to use one-handed. Depending on what you do throughout the day, it can have a pretty large impact. But overall, it's a nice phone to have in your pocket. You like having a tablet at your convenience whenever you want. You can open up, watch YouTube videos, and when you're done using the phone, I do like the satisfying sound that it makes whenever you close the phone. That's pretty much with all folding phones. And I know it's going to be a while for these giant folding phones before they reach the $1,000 mark, which is what I like about Motorola this year. With the Moto Razr Plus, they start off at $1,000, and the budget version hopefully it's going to come out soon, but that one is rumored to be released at about $800. So at least the smaller flipping phone is heading in the right direction. The folding phone doesn't look like it's budging much, it's still sticking at the $1,800 price range. I would have liked to have seen that drop down at least $200 or $300. But unfortunately, new technology is always expensive, and even Google is charging full price and full premium for these expensive phones. But the Pixel Fold is actually pretty thick bezels all around, and I actually don't really mind it. If you're watching the video and you pick up your phone, it does help to have some bezel on the side so you can pick up the phone easier. If it was a full display and you're watching a video, sometimes you might interact with the screen or fast forward by accident, exit out the video. I actually enjoyed using the fingerprint sensor on this phone. I used the fingerprint sensor along with the face unlock, and everything worked pretty well for the most part. I'm not sure why all these phone manufacturers start going with the under-display fingerprint sensor route. I guess in theory it sounds cool, but without the Pixel, the fingerprint sensor on board is not as fast as it should be, or it's not as accurate. Even on Samsung phone, I don't really like the fingerprint sensor either. It is super fast, but you have to hit it almost perfectly. I like the old days where they had physical fingerprint sensor like they do here on the Pixel Fold as part of the power button. Yeah, Samsung do this on their folding phones as well too, which I do like, and this wouldn't be, I actually wouldn't mind if they just bring this over to the standard flagship series. The Fold is a good phone if you're staying at home, not really commuting a lot. You're just walking around the house, you want to watch videos while you're doing chores, that's fine. Or if you're on a commute, sitting on a train, an airplane, you got an hour or so to spare, it's a nice time to indulge in some games or videos. But if you're walking around actually using a phone, for example, it's a good phone to travel to get you to the destination, but as you're walking around and if you go on a vacation, one of these I think can be pretty challenging. I brought the Z Fold 3 with me to travel a couple years ago to California. I went to the Grand Canyon. It's nice to be able to prop the phone to take group photos here and there, but for the most part, if you're just going around taking a picture, holding the phone with one hand, even recording 1-minute videos, the phone starts to get really heavy over time. I mean, the Pixel and the Fold did get slightly lighter, but overall, these things are pretty heavy, especially if you hold it with one hand for more than a couple minutes. And one thing I don't like about Google Pixel phone is just some tasks is very manual. For example, right now I'm recording this video. I want to use my mic. So obviously, if I'm connecting a mic into the USB-C, I want to use the mic. With Samsung phone, it automatically detects it. It connects right away. You can start recording. But on Pixel phone, every time I connect an external mic, I actually go to the setting, turn on the mic just to make sure it's activated. So little things like that kind of bother me about Pixel phone. It's just very manual, and you have to do extra steps for unnecessary things. Since the phone is so large and I have it in my basketball short, every time I run up and down the stairs, I actually feel the phone flapping against my legs. It's a little annoying, but this is not something you have to deal with as much with smaller phones. But with the bigger phones, the heavier they are, just a bit bulkier and harder to travel around with, even if you're just walking up and down the stairs. Another thing I decided to test out today is Phone Link, which allows me to connect my phone to the computer. And after setting it up, I remember using this in other phones in the past. I recall being able to at least launch app, but here when you connect the phone to the computer, it is almost kind of useless. You get to see notification, can probably respond to texts and things like that. You can make calls, you can look at photos, but you don't really have the ability to launch any apps or anything like that. On Motorola phone you can, Samsung phone you can as well, but this is missing on the Google Pixel Fold. So definitely a lost opportunity there on the Pixel side of the house. People always complain about Samsung have extra bloatware and things like that, but I consider them pretty nice features. Sometimes you use a computer, it's nice to be able to manage all your notifications on the computer and not have to pick up your phone every single time. And that was my intent when I used Phone Link to connect my Fold with my Windows computer. Apple does a pretty good job with this, with their integration and the ecosystem. Everything talks to each other really well. Android or Windows, depending on your phone, it doesn't really talk to each other that well. Just like in this case, you can see some notification, you can respond to some text. But if I get a Wise notification on my Phone Link application on the computer, I can't open it up and look at the Wise app on my computer. So if those things matter to you, then I would recommend you look at some other options like Motorola or Samsung. But Google is pretty bare bones, and little things like that is just not as feature packed as the other manufacturers. Battery life wise, after using this phone for close to 2 weeks, I think I get about 12 hours a day before hitting the 20% mark. So by at midnight, my phone is at 100%. By noon, I'm going to be at the 20% mark and would need to worry about charging my phone again. So 12 to 15 hours is a pretty good gauge depending on how you use your phone. Though charging on this phone is actually pretty slow. Full charge would take an hour and a half, so you leave your phone there and you don't have to use it, it's fine, but you plug it periodically here and there. It's gonna take a while before you reach 100% unless you just leave the phone there alone the whole time. This wrap up some of my thoughts on day 11 with the Pixel Fold. Let me know what your experience has been with the Pixel Fold. Would you recommend it, and what do you think would be a good price for this phone? I still think $1,800 is too expensive, but if they can find a way to slash the price in half, I would recommend it in a heartbeat. But with the high price tag, I expect almost perfection, and there's a lot of downside with this phone that you have to deal with if you've never used a folding phone before. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Please check out day 10 if you haven't already, and see you guys in the next video.